Hello, English students. Hope everybody's doing well. It's Mr. Williamson yet again. I've had some requests to do a video read aloud / analysis of the Odyssey of the Cyclops, which I should have done a long time ago, and I apologize for being lackadaisical and not getting on it earlier. I'll be honest, I've been a little intimidated by it because this chapter is so long, but it is a good chapter. All right, so what I'll do, and this is going to take a while because the chapter is not short. I will read through this chapter with us in our Canvas learning module. And as I read, I'll periodically stop, make comments, highlight some things that might be relevant or important for us, and go from there. I am using Screencastify. I'm not 100% sure how long my account allows me to run a single video on Screencastify. So I may have to break this up into more than one video. If I do, you will know. All right. As always, I'm only human. I may mess up on some of these pronunciation of some of these names and words, but that's okay. You just do the best you can. All right. So without further ado, let us get started. The Odyssey by Homer. As you read, highlight clues that will help you understand characters' motivations. Use sticky notes to record conclusions you draw about what that character wants. And looking at this, there's a little painting of depicting a scene from the Cyclops, and it's kind of giving away a key scene from the story, but no big deal. We'll get there when we get there. Here's a list of characters, which I will just skip for now, but I can tell you our key characters here in this particular chapter. Obviously, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and our epic hero. Poseidon, he's always going to be important, even if he's not directly or explicitly in the chapter, but he is important because he's the god that has a grudge against Odysseus, and this is actually the chapter where we find out where he gets the grudge. This is a chapter where Odysseus does something that angers Poseidon, and he's a god of sea, earthquakes, horses, and storms at sea, of course. Athena, yeah, she's important always. She's a goddess of wisdom, skills, and warfare, and she's also serves as Odysseus's mentor. Polyphemus, the Cyclops who imprisons Odysseus, so he's going to be an important character in this particular story. All right, let us go. New coast and Poseidon's son. In the next land we found were Cyclopes, giants, louts, without a law to bless them, in ignorance leaving the fruitage of the earth in mystery to the immortal gods. They neither plow nor sow by hand, nor till the ground, though grain, wild wheat and barley grows untended, and wine grapes in clusters ripen in heaven's rain. Cyclopes have no muster and no meeting, no consultation or old tribal ways, but each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice. Sorry, put that on vibrate. Let me back up. Cyclopes have no muster and no meeting, no consultation or old tribal ways, but each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice to wife and child, indifferent to what the others do. All right, so what's relevant about this? Okay, once again, they arrive at a new island. That's kind of a common thing on a common motif on Odysseus's journey. They end up at some new place, some new island, and we know there's going to be a challenge here. So Cyclops, is in Greek mythology. They were lawless giants who had a single eye in the middle of their forehead. They were given to violence and did not recognize the laws of humans or gods. Okay. So obviously, I think most of us are probably familiar with the Cyclops, like a one-eyed giant. Now, what's it say here, though? What do we get in this description? It says they were giants louts. Louts, okay? A lout is not a kind word to refer to somebody. It's almost like they're, I don't know, not intelligent, which is probably true. It says, in ignorance, leaving the fruitage of the earth in mystery to the immortal gods, they neither plow nor sow by hand, nor till the ground, though grain grows untended. So, what's it saying here? It's like they have land here on this island, there's fruit there, they have grain, wild wheat, and barley, but they're not doing anything with it. Okay, the wine grapes are ripening her heaven's rain, but they don't really do anything with it. They are just leaving this potential food like that to just sit there. They're not plowing or sowing. They're not tilling the earth. They're not using the earth to their advantage to provide food. And this says something about the type of culture that the Cyclops has. Says something about either their intelligence when it comes to such things, or their willingness to put forth the necessary labor to make such things happen. But Odysseus, is kind of like baffled by this, and that says something about Odysseus's culture, something about the Greeks' culture. Like this is once again, this story kind of gives us an insight into Greek culture, ancient Greek culture. And one thing is that the Greeks would use the land to their benefit. They would they would use these grapes that are growing. They would till the earth. They would work the earth and grow wheat and barley and use it for food and sustenance. But these Cyclops, these Cyclopes, which is I think the correct way to say the um, plural version of Cyclops, are not doing it. They had no muster nor meeting, meaning they did not come together as a group. So that's another thing. These Cyclops are not tribal. They are not like a clan where they function together as a unit. They're all like every Cyclops for himself, which once again is kind of like baffling to Odysseus. He's like, why don't you have a community? And once again, that kind of gives us an insight into something that the Greeks would have valued. They would have valued community. They would value Greeks coming together to work together towards a common good. Uh, no consultation or old tribal ways, but each one dwells in his own mountain cave, dealing out rough justice. Rough justice, as this phrase suggests, is shows that the Cyclopes are known for being violent. Okay, so this suggests that the Cyclops are as a culture they're violent. Okay, this is a violent group that they've run into. All right, so a lot actually. You get a good sense of the culture of these the Cyclops here. Well then, across the wide bay from the mainland, there lies a desert island, not far out, but still close inshore. Wild goats in hundreds breed there, and no human being comes upon the isle to startle them. No hunter of all who ever tracked with hounds through forest or had rough going over mountain trails. The isle, unplanted and untilled, a wilderness, pastures goats alone, and this is why. Good ships like ours, with chic paint at the bows, are far beyond the Cyclopes. No shipwright toils among them, shaping and building up symmetrical trims, hulls to cross the sea and visit all the seaboard towns, as men do who go and come in commerce over water. The isle, sea-going folk who would have annexed it and built their homesteads on it, all good land, fertile for every crop and season, lush, well-watered meads along the shore, vines in profusion, prairie, clear for the plow, where the grain would grow, chin high by harvest time, and rich subsoil. The island cove is landlocked, so you need no hawsers out astern, bowstones, or mooring. Run in and ride there till the day your crew is chafed to be under sail, and a fair wind blows. You'll find good water flowing from a cavern through dusky poplars in the upper bay. Here we made harbor. Okay, let's stop for a second. Once again, it's just describing the land. Okay, and Odysseus is really impressed with like just the land here. He's saying that it's really a great place for a shipping community, the way the water meets the land and all the vegetation is around there. It's like it could be a very prosperous place for a port where you can have commerce and trade among ships. But that's not happening here. Okay, no one travels here. No one goes from here. No one goes to this island, and it's because he says uh, good ships like ours with cheek paint at the bows are far beyond the Cyclopes. No shipwright toils among them, suggesting that there's no boat builders. There's no one on these Cyclopes don't know how to build a boat. Okay, shaping and building up symmetrical trim hulls, balance. They don't know. They don't have the skills, the knowledge, the ability to build boats. Thus, this this land, this shore that could really be prosperous and have a prosperous community, a thriving community with trade with other islands and other peoples, is just sitting here wasted. The island cove is landlocked, so you need no hosters out astern, uh, bowstones or mooring. So says hawsers and I guess bowstones and mooring are different methods of anchoring a boat. Okay, so even here you don't even like need to have a special way to anchor a boat because the inland cove is landlocked. And here the word chafe just means grow impatient. Okay, so it's everything about this island, screams like this could be a very prosperous island. Like there's so much natural resource here, but it's not being utilized because the inhabitants of this island either lack the ability, lack the desire, lack the knowledge, but they just don't know. They're not making use of the land. All right, you'll find good water flowing from a cavern through dusky poplars in the upper bay. Here we made harbor. Some god guided us that night, for we could barely see our bows in the dense fog around us, and no moonlight filtered through the overcast. No lookout. Nobody saw the island dead ahead, nor even the great landward rolling billow that took us in. We found ourselves in shallows, keels grazing shore, so furled our sails and disembarked where the low ripples broke. There on the beach we lay and slept till morning. So, they they hit a fog and they can't even see where they're going, and suddenly this island appears and they it's right up on them suddenly, and they make land there, okay, and they beach their sails there, and their boats, and they sleep till morning, and we could probably guess that the next morning they are probably going to get up and go explore the island. Okay, let's keep going. So they get to the shore and sleep. And our story continues. When dawn spread out her fingertips of rose, we turned out marveling to tour the isle, while Zeus's shy nymph daughters flushed wild goats down from the heights, a breakfast for my men. We ran to fetch our hunting bows and long shanked lances from the ships, and in 3 companies we took our shots. Heaven gave us game aplenty. For every one of 12 ships in my squadron, 9 goats fell to be shared. So they find some goats on this island, this wild goats, and they're like, hey, let's make use of these goats. So they get their bows, arrows, spears, and they go hunting. Okay. Heaven gave us game aplenty. For every one of 12 ships in my squadron, 9 goats fell to be shared. My lot was 10. So there all day until the sun went down, we made our feast on meat galore and wine. Wine from the ship, for our supply held out. So many jars were filled at Ismaros from stores of the Cicones that we plundered, a reference to sailing from Troy there. We gazed too at Cyclops' land, so near, we saw their smoke, heard bleating from their flocks, but after sundown, in the gathering dusk, we slept again above the wash of ripples. When the young dawn with fingertips of rose came in the east, I called my men together and made a speech to them. Okay, we have a little audio here. Let's just see what it is, and let's hope that the Screencastify captures the audio.
As you read Odysseus' speech, note that he tells his crew what
Okay, so as if you didn't hear that, it's pretty much Odysseus is going to give a speech to his men, and in the speech he's going to say, let's go over and check out these Cyclops. Let's find out what kind of beings are they are. Are they savage? Or are they friendly? And it's the question is, what is his motivation here? Why would he do this? So this is Odysseus speaking to his men. Old shipmates, friends, the rest of you stand by. I'll make the crossing in my own ship with my own company and find out what the mainland natives are, for they may be wild savages and lawless, or hospitable and God-fearing men. Little note here. The Greeks valued hospitality. They believed that extending hospitality to strangers and guests pleased the gods. So it would be within their nature as Greeks, part of their culture, to go and try to be hospitable to these Cyclops, to to you know treat them well and friendly, and to maybe even exchange goods and services, which is kind of ironic considering how Odysseus and his men had treated Ismarus when they attacked it. But that is a different discussion. At this I went aboard and gave the word to cast off by the stern. My oarsmen followed, filing in to their benches by the rowlocks. Rowlocks are braces that lock the oars to the boat. And all in line dipped oars in the grey sea. As we rowed on and nearer to the mainland, at one end of the bay we saw a cavern, yawning above the water, screened with laurel, and many rams and goats about the place. Inside, a sheepfold made from slabs of stone, earth-fast, between tall trunks of pine and rugged towering oaks. So they're going over. They were like off a little. They're like on the Cyclops Island, but they were like maybe on a little isle just across some water from the mainland. So now they are rowing over to the mainland to go check out what the Cyclops are like. A prodigious man slept in this cave alone, and took his flocks to graze afield, remote from all companions, knowing none but savage ways, a brute so huge he seemed no man at all of those who eat good wheat and bread, but he seemed rather a shaggy mountain reared in solitude. So they get there, and uh, they're looking at a huge man. So they find a cave, and they realize that a huge Cyclops lives there, and he doesn't seem very cultured. Says they refer to him as a shaggy mountain reared in solitude, raised alone from childhood. So probably not a very hospitable being, probably not someone that you would reason with. We beached there, and I told the crew to stand by and keep watch over the ship. As for myself, I took my 12 best fighters and went ahead. I had a goat skin full of that sweet liquor that you and The's son Maron had given me, referring to wine right here, just so you know. He kept Apollo's holy grove at Ismarus. For kindness we showed him there, and showed his wife and child. He gave me 7 shining golden talents, perfectly formed, a solid silver wine bowl, and then this liquor, 12 two-handled jars of brandy, pure and fiery. So not a slave, and I guess it's Mauron's household knew this drink. Only he and his wife and the storeroom mistress knew, and they would put 1 cupful, ruby-colored honey smooth, and 20 more of water, but still the sweet scent hovered like fume over the wine bowl. No man turned away when cups of this came round. So what he's talking about is referencing something from earlier, talents for coins. Okay, um, we probably did not read this part, but it's just a reference to something that happened earlier in his adventures, or even prior to the adventures. But this man, Mayron, I guess, he had given Odysseus some gifts. You know, that's part of his hospitality aspect of this culture is to, gifts, give and receive gifts, and he got 12 golden coins and a silver wine bowl and this liquor, which apparently is this very delicious brandy that was only given to like the best of the best. You know, he says, not a slave in Mayron's household knew this drink. Only he, his wife, and storeroom mistress knew of it. So it's a very pleasing and possibly potent liquor, and he's bringing it probably. You know, if you can guess, if he's going to greet this Cyclops, he's going to find out how hospitable this Cyclops is. You know, he wants to bring a gift. He wants to bring something to exchange with the Cyclops, or just as a act of kindness. So that's why he's bringing this. A wineskin full I brought along, and victuals in a bag. For in my bones I knew some towering brute would be upon us soon, all outward power, a wild man, ignorant of civility. So he's going there. Odysseus is going there with his wine and victuals. He's got food. He's bringing wine and food as a sign of kindness and um, keep using the word hospitable, but it is, it means that he's just trying to uh, show some respect and some generosity to this stranger because he's a stranger in a strange land. But in his guts, he knows that he's going to run into trouble. He just knows that this Cyclops is going to be, he's ignorant of civility. He's going to be a problem. We climbed then briskly to the cave, but Cyclops had gone afield to pasture his fat sheep. So we looked around at everything inside, a drying rack that sagged with cheeses, pens crowded with lambs and kids, each in its class, firstlings apart from middlings, and the dewdrops of newborn lambkins pinned apart from both, and vessels full of whey were brimming there, bowls of earthenware and pails for milking. My men came pressing round me, pleading. His men are pleading. Let's hear the audio.
As you read Odysseus's men's pleas, think about
Okay, once again, it gets into character motivation when Odysseus's men start pleading with Odysseus, because remember, they're in the Cyclops cave now. What motivates them to want to steal from the Cyclops? My men came pressing around me, pleading, why not take these cheeses, get them stowed, come back, throw open all the pens, and make a run for it. We'll drive the kids and lambs aboard. Kids are like baby lambs, baby goats. We say put out again on good salt water. So they want to steal like the food and animals from the Cyclops, right? Not very hospitable, once again. Ah, how sound that was! Yet I refused. I wished to see the caveman. What he had to offer. No pretty sight, it turned out for my friends. So, you ever hear the expression curiosity killed the cat? Welp, that is exactly what's going to happen here. He should have listened, but his curiosity got the best of him.
like all epic heroes, Odysseus is far from
We lit a fire, burnt an offering, and took some cheese to eat, then sat in silence around the embers, waiting. When he came, he had a load of dry boughs on his shoulder and to stoke his fire at supper time. He dumped it with a great crash into that hollow cave, and we all scattered fast to the far wall. Then over the broad cavern floor he ushered the ewes he meant to milk. So you know, ewe is a female sheep. He left his rams and he goats in the yard outside and swung high overhead a slab of solid rock to close the cave. So the Cyclops has come into the cave. The men are in there. The men are still there. Because Odysseus wanted to see what the Cyclops looked like. But to his surprise, maybe, or he didn't plan this, when the Cyclops comes into the cave, he blocks the exit with a slab of solid rock, closing the cave. So Odysseus and his crew are now trapped in the cave with this giant Cyclops. 24 four-wheel wagons with heaving wagon teams could not have stirred the tonnage of that rock from where he wedged it over the door sill. Next he stepped his seat and milked his bleeding ewes. A practice job he made of it, giving each ewe her suckling, thickened his milk and then into curds and whey, sieved out the curds to drop in withy baskets. So he's milking a withy is a flexible twig. He's milking the lambs and sheep. Okay, suckling is a child. All right, he's sitting there. The giant Cyclops is just sitting there, unaware that Odysseus and his crew are back in there. Okay, and poured the whey to stand in bowls, cooling until he drank it for his supper. When all these chores were done, he poked the fire, heaping on brushwood. In the glare, he saw us. Uh-oh. So now the Cyclops has seen Odysseus and his crew, and they are trapped in there with this Cyclops. What's going to happen? Something good? Something bad? Probably not good. All right, guys, I'm going to have to stop it here for time's sake. There's going to be a part 2 where I will continue with this story. I'm excited. You wonder what's going to happen. Well, we'll find out.